Here is a thought exercise for you. You design or illustrate A. You meant to design or illustrate A. Your client wanted you to design or illustrate A. What if your target audience does not see A, but instead they read it as Z? Are your target audience at fault? How can interpretation be semiotically centered in design and illustration? Let's discuss this more fully. Welcome to episode 14, season 3 of Semiosis 101, where we explain Charles Sanders Peirce's semiotic theory of semiosis, sign action, in designer-centric terms. If you've watched Semiosis 101 episodes before, then you will already know I am Dave Wood. I use Semiosis 101 on YouTube, Patreon, and Substack to provide a designer-centric translation of Charles Sanders Peirce's semiotic theory of semiosis, sign action. Why do you need Semiosis 101? Peirce's writing and terminology is very obtuse. On Semiosis 101, I translate Peirce's brilliant theory into language creators will understand and can follow. After all, we study design and illustration and not philosophy. So we need theory centered to creators' needs. Yes, that is why you need Semiosis 101. Season 3's semiotic theme is semiotic encoding, with a focus on how audiences make interpretations. What this season's theme means to you as visual communicators is that at long last you will see what semiotic signs can be or will be. We will build your confidence to encode semiotic sign action into your own designs or illustrations during your own ideation phase to enhance visual communication. Over the last 3 episodes, we have focused on audience interpretations. We looked at semiotic possibilities of meaning bearing, probable, sign action, and the semiotic framing of meaning. In this episode, we will focus on enhancements. What I mean is semiotically enhancing aesthetic decisions to ensure the target audience can only interpret what you intend them to interpret. Let us go interpreting. Hit subscribe to this YouTube channel and I will explain. In the last episode, I began to discuss Peirce's other triadic relationships to how meaning is perceived and therefore interpreted. In the next episode, we will begin to re-examine Peirce's 10 classifications of semiotic signs. The sign power of each of these 10 signs, from simple to complex, is predicated on 3 triadic interrelationships I have identified this season. We know semiosis is predicated on the determination flow between the concept, its representation, and then its interpretation. How the concept is represented is powered by iconic and lexical and symbolic representation. How it is perceived and interpreted is powered as a rime, a dissent, or an argument. More on these next episode. Semiosis's final triad is the power of how the representation is delivered. We can call this a sign vehicle. The quasi-sign is the most basic delivery of the semiotic representation to the audience. Quasi-sign is ephemeral. It is a quality and nothing more. Well, not quite. It is a quality that can be weakly meaning bearing. It is on the edge of perception, on the periphery of consciousness, which vanishes when perceived. What I mean is, contextually, a quality can semiotically kickstart communication of meaning through a perception it is familiar. Quick caveat, we are discussing semiotic signs and not signage, okay? Good, because I am about to reference signage here. In danger signage, the colour red is often used as socioculturally we identify red with danger. Red is red. In other contexts, red can mean many other things. In danger signage, the application of red evokes a sense of danger. That is a quality sign. The next 2 semiotic sign vehicle levels are a synth sign and a legi sign. In episode 3.6, I promised to unpack these 2 terms, so here we are 8 episodes later. A synth sign is the middle level of delivering the semiotic sign, and legi sign is the highest level. By examining the root in each level, quali, syn, and legi sign, we can see the perception levels. A quali sign is in the perception state of firstness, a state of possibilities, familiarities, and resemblances. A synth sign is in the perception state of secondness, a state of probabilities, proposals, and mediation. A legisign is in the perception state of thirdness, a state of generality of agreements and interpretation. A synth sign is a one-off delivery of meaning bearing. A legisign is more of a generally agreed delivery. Syn as in single, legi as in law. Think on this. Quali as in quality, syn as in single, legi as in law. Those of you who are Semiosis 101 regulars will already be aware that semiotic signs are not tangible things but are encoded meaning bearing. Therefore, in one moment a semiotic sign can be dormant and in the next active. A semiotic sign can be unperceived and then perceived. In context A, a blob can be perceived as an animal ear, but in context B, a blob can be a leg or a plane or a skyscraper or anything. The quality of a blob may semiotically suggest an ear or a leg, but a blob is a blob. Its shape may change, suggesting other qualities. These quali-sign suggestions are weak and interpretations can be varied. A shape of an eye has a round quality. To visually communicate an eye, different shapes are used to suggest iris, cornea, pupil, reflections, etc. Different colour qualities are used to suggest eye variations, and composition of these shapes suggest where the eye is looking. These are just shapes, independent of whatever technique is used to visualise them. These shapes in different configurations can visualise lots of other things too. Can you see where I'm going with this? In one configuration, these various shapes define an eye. This is what Peirce defines as a synth sign. The individual shapes that could also form many other things if configured differently form a single element in an image, or as an image, or as a graphic to visually communicate an eye. A syn sign, a single sign vehicle delivering the representation of the concept of an eye. A synth sign which helps the interpreter to interpret an eye. So if a quali sign is a sign vehicle which is an ephemeral semiotic meaning bearing quality, and a synth sign is a single use sign vehicle which is used to visually communicate a thing, then what is a legisign? Peirce is quite careful in how he defines a legisign. A legisign is a law that is a sign. This law is usually established by people. Every conventional sign is a legisign. It is not a single object, but a general type which, it has been agreed, shall be significant. A general type which has been agreed? Peircean scholar Professor Tony Jappi describes a legisign as depending largely upon personal experience of the world and collateral, that is, independent, knowledge of the concept determining the sign. Consider what you all already know and apply that to legisigns. What do I mean by that? Peirce uses familiar terms such as law and argument when trying to name what semiotically and perceptually happens at the point of interpretation. He is making a specific philosophical and logical point, but again, his terminology is nothing more than obtuse to the creative layperson. We will look at this highest level of triadic sign action in the same way we explored the lowest in episode 3.5. The highest of Peirce's 10 semiotic sign classification utilizes symbolic representation and argument and is a legisign. We already know symbolic representation employs visual generalities. We know an argument in Peircean terms is nothing more than a general agreement. Can you see where I'm going with this? A legisign is a general expected way of experiencing the semiotic visual communication. Let me make you more comfortable with this. What is a logo? Yes, it represents a brand, an organization, a business, etc. But what is a logo? We all feel we know what a logo is. So when we see a single graphic mark or a shape, initials, etc., we are happy to assume it could be a logo. Every logo is different. They look different. But we still know each one is a logo. Logos are meaning bearing. They convey meaning through a simple visual identity. Logos deliver much more meaning once recognized as such that on its own it cannot visually bear. Can you see where I'm going with this? Apply that same thinking to Peirce's Legisign. Am I saying a logo is a legisign? Let us not get bogged down in analogy. As I stated in Season 2, Episode 2.1, semiotic signs are not signage, but signage uses semiotics. I'm just trying to reset your perceptual thinking here. A legisign is just a delivery method for the semiotic sign. If a quality is a weak and ephemeral meaning-bearing vehicle, polysign, and a single configuration of shapes, marks, etc. is a one-off meaning-bearing vehicle, synsign, then a legisign is a generally accepted sign vehicle that the target audience will expect. A logo is just one example of how legisigns are experienced without thinking. Also, consider other things you do not notice, such as wayfinding or the app screen on your devices, or in the analog world, the expectation of where to open that packet. Everything you design or illustrate has visual communication embedded within it. The meaning-bearing visual elements should lead to the intended meaning and not against it. The managing of perception is how semiosis aids you creatives. In design, we can describe what and how we design through a variety of different theoretical lenses. This episode just helps you frame how semiotic sign action can also benefit your successes through mindfully considering interpretation. We expanded on how semiotic representation can be delivered through 3 sign vehicles of polysigns, synsigns and legisigns. We will return to these next week when we will spend 3 episodes exploring in more detail Peirce's 10 semiotic sign classifications, from simple to complex. You will gain a clearer understanding how all of Peirce's 3 triads of sign action power interplay to enhance your visual communication skills. I am Dave Wood, a design educator and researcher, a published design author, and I've worked commercially as both a freelance illustrator and graphic designer. The guy behind the theory, Charles Sanders Peirce, was a philosopher, a mathematician, and a theorist, but he was not a creative. Each week on this Scout Scott Semiosis 101 YouTube channel, I will post at least one free 10-minute explainer episode on an aspect of Peirce's pragmatic semiotic theory. Each free YouTube episode features a take-home piece of applicable semiotic theory, and they do interconnect to build up your understanding of semiosis. Each free Semiosis 101 YouTube 10-minute episode will use design-centric terms instead of theoretical language. As well as the free YouTube episodes, I have 2 further Semiosis 101 semiotic resources you can subscribe to. Semiosis 101 producer roles are now available on Patreon. If you take out a paid Patreon Semiosis 101 patronage, you will get access to all the future season episodes months before they get published on YouTube. As a Patreon Semiosis 101 patron, you will automatically become a Semiosis 101 producer and get a name credit on all future YouTube episodes. Depending on which of the 4 producer tiers you choose, you will also get access to behind the scenes insights, cool Semiosis 101 Patreon merchandise, and other goodies for Semiosis 101 to continue making semiotic episodes. As a Patreon Semiosis 101 producer, you will be financially supporting the sustainable future of Semiosis 101 to keep explaining Peirce's semiotic theory. To become a Patreon Semiosis 101 producer, the link is in the description. I have a written semiotic resource available on the Semiosis 101 Substack. Here I have semiotic support materials for both free and paid Substack subscribers. There are full annotated reading lists, episode transcripts, 5-minute semiotic reads, plus other goodies and exclusive Semiosis 101 Substack merchandise. The Substack link is in the description. As a fellow creative and a published design author, I also have a link in the description to my main Scout Scott website. If you're interested in reading my semiotic Rosetta Stone academic writing, then you can visit my academia.edu link in the description. Any other books on Peircean semiotics or design I've mentioned in the episodes are also listed in the description. Check them out too. Thanks for watching. Check out the other Semiosis 101 episodes, like and share them with your friends. And hit the bell and subscribe buttons to be notified when next week's free Semiosis 101 episode is published. You can also follow Semiosis 101 on the socials for updates. It is at Semiosis 101 on Instagram and Threads. See you all again next week for more Semiosis 101 to help illustrators and designers to enhance your visual communication skills.